here we are, ding ding, round 2. First things first though, I've got to I've got an answer. Rick Hammer, one of my subscribers, asked me a question. Let's see how good I know my tops and die sets. I got it first time. It was a bit of a fluke, to be honest, but anyway, one of my subscribers, I think, is asking a question about this. It's in the Little Giant set. Did I have an attachment that looks like it goes in a brace? And you see what happens with this? This has that. Let's see if we've got a nice loose one. Have we got one? No, maybe we have. Doesn't want to play today, does it? Ah, there we are. I knew I had one somewhere. Right, so what you do is you unscrew this, which is part of that, look, the jaws. This screws in the back. This screws in the back. So I'm guessing if you didn't want to use a die handle, maybe you didn't have space, or you know, you were struggling for space, or how do you extend that if you want to go down somewhere deep? I guess you'd put it on here and you would, you know, say if there was you'd snap the shaft and you wanted to put more thread on it to get a grip on it to bring it back or something. But that goes there. But it's quite an unusual attachment because I've got lots of sets, and you know, see, it's got its proper little holder for it. It's meant to be there. It's part of this kit, and I have seen it on reviews of other kits. Does it mention it? What does it call it? Let's see now. What did it say? You hear that? That sounds like a puncture coming back. Sounds like somebody's just made it home with a puncture. Yeah. Yeah, use plenty of lard oil. Anyway, this is in that set, and I think it's the only one. This handle isn't a Little Giant tap handle, just that. And these, of course, these are the Little Giant Wells Brothers. Yeah, Greenfield, Massachusetts, USA. Little Giant. Anyway, that's the only one I've got. So, Rick, I hope that helps you out, and I hope it answers your question. I believe you were telling me you'd had a few and they're a bit unusual. Well, they are. They're not a common thing when it comes to tap and die sets, because of all the boxes of taps and dies that I've got, that's, for me, it's the only one that I've got out of all the boxes that I've got. Maybe it was more common then, or made for a certain job, I don't know. But anyway, I hope that answers your question, because it's the only one I've got. Right, let's crack on then. Let's crack on now. I know what I'm doing. Well, I should know. I hope I know what I'm doing. So, remember we did a stack of nuts, didn't we? We did a spacer to go in the bottom. Here it is. It's here. And what I did, I cut a relief here, and I cut a relief there, so I get a bit more of a bite on the bottom, a grip. And I used the horn. Now, we don't use that enough, do we, the anvil? We don't do enough anvil work, do we? But here's the horn of the anvil. So I used the horn of the anvil to flare the bottom out. So that, rather than sit on top and could move, it now just slips in down the side, look. So we've got a good positioning for this bottom, haven't we? So what we've done now is, this is as long as that's going to be. We wanted it to be going straight up, didn't we? Well, what we did, this is the slide piece. Can you hear? That's the slide piece on the inside. So that's running nice and freely. So we know that the top will now slide past there if we weld this in this position, and it's not going to move. So all we have to do now is weld this in position, which is the shaft on the inside. Take out the inner, which is going to be the top. Put a lid on here, put a lid on there, and I think we're coming home and dry. But I am going to do a couple of Reggie adjustments, shall we call them, to it. So watch out to the very end, because I'm going to regify it, because I've got an idea for it. So anyway, so let's now we've got this in place and we've pulled it straight, so it can't be crooked, can it? You know, sometimes you put something in and it ends up being crooked. Well, what we've done, we've pulled it in by putting the washer here and the tightness there. We've pulled that up straight, and we can hear the shaft on the inside moving freely. So let's crack on with that then. So can you see what we've done now? We've created a screw up there. So this now goes in and past it. This goes in and past it, look. Let me see if we can get the light onto that. And turn that another way, hold on. That's better. We've created a shaft, haven't we? We've created a shaft in there. And because we already had this there, we know that now passes, doesn't even touch the sides, look, just. So this is the bottom jaw here, or it's going to be the bottom jaw will sit here, and then the top jaw will sit above. So we're not far from being there. We're not far from being there at all. So can you see where we're at? Luckily I left these ears on, which is coming handy. But this is the bottom jaw. There's not a lot of meat left on the damn thing, but I'm going to tack this in here, squash it together. Again, I've bolted it down in place. Here is the slider on the inside. I'm going to tack this across here, and I'm going to then put this in the vise and tack that along there, possibly do that end, and then come back. I've got enough space to attack this now, to weld this just in that space there. Maybe there's one in the front too. So here are the jaws under here. These are going to be the jaws, and the jaws are, I've put the jaws together, so there's the closing jaws there. So weld this here, weld that there, then come back and weld this here. Yeah, come and redo this to the shaft. Clamp the shaft onto there then. Yeah, and then do it that way. So let's do this and this, and possibly that and that. And then we're nearly there. Here we've got the bottom jaw. So here is the bottom jaw. Here is the top jaw. The biggest problem is welding this top jaw in line, but in theory the top jaw will do that now. There's a slight difference in sizes because I decided to just cut the corner off there, but I mean, if it's just a piece of equipment to squish something, that'll do the same trick, won't it? But I can't afford to foul this up. I want those two surfaces to touch each other without any interference of any weld of some sort. But it's okay, because look, this, it's slightly not quite square. It's not as straight as I'd like it, but I think it'll be all right. But it leans forward slightly. So weld this up onto the top jaw, and we're nearly there. I'm between two minds, you know, to whether to make a hole. I don't really want to make a hole in that, but really, and I have got a room. I have got room here. I could put a bit of weld there, couldn't I? That wouldn't get in the way. You know, the top of this to that. There's a bit of room for a bit of weld and a bit of grinding off, cleaning off, and all that. Seems to be plenty down the side. That's not going to foul it, so maybe I should weld it just the back edge, because that's slightly below. Yeah, just the back edge, and the two sides leaves the front alone. Yeah. Woo-hoo-hoo! We're getting there, we're getting there, we're getting there. So, fortune favours the brave, yeah. So, again, I've bolted it back up. This is only sitting there at the minute, but if I can get in there without touching this or anything else, I should be able to get in there, weld that, get a tack on it, at least get it secured in a position. Then I can get a weld down here, and I can get a weld down there, can't I? See, there's a space down there and down there. So if it fouls a bit, I can always just grind it. And so I've got space here to put a weld and space there to put a weld. Well, you know, a Reggie weld. So, we're going to go in through the back door, boys. Well then. Woo-hoo-hoo! What did we want to make? We set out, here is a set of jaws. We set out to make a set of jaws that was going to point this way in the vise. So anyway, let me tell you, how am I going to hold this and do this all at the same time? Hold on. Here we are. Dun, dun, dun. Let's close that up a bit. Ooh. There we are. We have achieved success. A knife holding blade. Look, we've achieved a set of jaws to come this way. Now, I am going to put a few more improvements on it to regify it a bit more, but we've basically achieved what we wanted to achieve. Here is a top jaw and a bottom jaw, and they close onto each other. So, and how it works is to give us more. This needs to be longer, so we need to find that longer. How it works is this now sits inside there. Can you see that's a nice clean surface, and under here is a nice clean surface. Where the weld is okay because it bypasses it, look. So we don't need to. So there's two surfaces rubbed on each other. We couldn't figure out how to fix it, did we? But there's the nut halfway up the hill, as you might say. So we've achieved what we want to achieve. It's a bit of a faff to find that. There we are. But it's easy to find it. So anyway, yeah. Here's a jaw. Here's a knife holding. Hold on, let's put this. Let's see this knife. It's made out of a hacksaw blade. You know, a big industrial hacksaw blade, and you can see how long have had it, because it's that it's that worn out. It's getting thinner and thinner by the day. So all you have to do now is tighten this down here, tighten this down here, not too tight, it's not that big of a thread, and look, we've achieved what we wanted to achieve. We wanted to change our jaws from that position to this position. So I haven't quite finished. I'm going to regify it now, but we've reached our goal, haven't we? We have reached our goal. And should I want to go file it that way, this isn't in the way. So anyway, but you could move it along and do a bit, and then move it along and do a bit if this was in your way. So we have achieved a Reggie version, you know, a Reggie version of changing the direction of the vise. First improvement is I put this longer shaft in, and I've screwed the shaft down for as far as the damn thing will go, and it still isn't long enough, but it don't matter because that'll do where I want it to do. So you see, that's well in there, so that's going to give us a good opening jaw should we need it. So what are we going to do with this now then? Why am I unhappy with just a head on that? So come on, hang on in there and I'll show you. So what I wasn't happy about was this nut, because you putting a spanner on it, tightening it up, giving it grief all the time. It's not the strongest of things to give a lot of grief to, is it? You have to be quite gentle with it. So I think the first thing to do is get a sacrificial socket, turn so we've got a nice surface on here to rub on, put two nuts in there and tighten that down. Yeah, tighten that down. So what we're going to do next then? So we've put a socket on there to grip it. We've got a big nut. This is only going to ever be hand tight, simply because of the strength in that thread alone isn't going to be able to give you whale it up. So let's have a good hand grip, and we're going to make this hand tight, and we're going to make this here nice square grip, burn all that together, make one big red glowing blob, and then and we've just raised this up a bit. We've got a flat surface under there. We might even put a little slippery washer under there just to help it along. So that's what we're going to do now. Get rid of that spanner affair at the top and just make this a hand tight nut. Gonna catch it? Yeah. One big globuly mess. That took three welding rods, that did. Make one big globuly mess, and we'll grind it and clean it and grind it and clean it and put a bit more weld on it and grind it all back, and then all of a sudden it'll look like just one. The dangerous ones, when you've had them glowing red, they look nice and dark, but they retain their heat like mad, these welding jobs. Watch. So much heat in that. You put your hand on that, you wouldn't have much of an hand left. Ooh, yeah. Naughty. You gotta watch for those. Watch for those ones. They're the ones you're gonna get a burn off. Yeah. So here we are. There again, we've changed the direction of the jaws of the holding device, haven't we? And because of the limitation of the small thread that's going up and down, you don't really want to be giving that too much stick. So you only really want it to be hand tight, but you want the hand to be comfortable on a big nut. So we can hold, as long as you don't hit it too hard, we can hold something quite wide in the jaws, can't we? And then all you have to do is undo the hand tight nut, and it will fall away. We've got quite a range on that. There we are, it's just run out. So that was about the limit of where it was going to go. Yeah, so let's gently put that back in without cross-threading it. So yeah, there, I would say there is about the limit of the jaw. and you're limited by the strength in this thread, aren't you? So you don't really want to squish anything too particularly hard. But anyway, we've achieved it, haven't we? Yeah, we've you don't need to find a spanner or whatever to fit. So that's the first alteration. Can you guess what the next alteration is going to be? And it is going to be major alteration. Well, a lot of work to do, but it's what I want to do. Anyway, can you guess? So, my next problem or issue with it is you're holding it in the vise, aren't you? And the material I've used isn't particularly thick, isn't really thick and isn't really strong. So I can imagine this over time, because of course you've got something at the end there, you're standing on the end of this, you're getting a good grip, then you're banging it and wailing it. I can see this deforming, causing trouble. Well, I've got this, it's good and strong, and it's just wide enough to catch, So if I cut this into four pieces, if I turn this into 4 pieces and create a strong box around it so that you won't be crushing this bar in the middle, this box section in the middle, you'll be actually crushing this box that we're going to create out of this thickness of steel, because they'll all be up against each other. So I'm going to divide this into 4 and then weld it all around to protect it. So what you'll do is you'll clamp it on this area here, and then you won't get any trouble with this going in and out, fouling or bending, because it's not as tough as you imagine. And of course, you know, if I'm in the vise and the thing slips, it gets the Reggie treatment, so it'll get wailed around, so it'll really weld, you know, squeeze into there, and that's not healthy for it. So we're going to protect the outside of that thinness. Yeah. So when you're making a box, when you're making protection, the first idea is, see that box fits in there, is to put them like that. And that's not very good, because all you're basically doing is thickening the side walls. You're just putting a spacer in. What you have to do is, this has got to go there, that's got to go there, and that's got to go there. And it creates the same square space, but they're resting on each other. You're crushing, you haven't created a spacer, it's causing the crush. So when you put them in the vise, it won't be still doing crushing the same, because they're passing each other, and all you've done is thicken the metal up. If you put them in that way, on the edges around it, you can still achieve the same square, but that's where the strength is, in the overlap on them. Are you with me? Are you with me? Wow, what a complete to clamp up, because I kept fouling myself on this corner, wasn't I? So anyway, you can see now, if you try and crush it this way, you've got resistance there, and you've got resistance there, look. If you try and crush it this way, that's holding it, and that's holding it. So now, the box itself is strong. You won't be able to crush the inside box, because you're pushing up against that there, look. So if we were pushing it from front to back, you'd be up against that, holding it in, right? And if you were pushing it side to side, you'd be up against here and up against there, look. So that's why this box will now protect it, rather than just put a thicker edge on it. That box itself will be protecting it, and I won't really need to weld it to this even. I won't really need to warm and distort or move that. All I've got to do now is tack these edges on, and it'll be enough just to hold that lot in that shape. Yeah. So okay, if you find it's not quite square in the vise or twisted. Well, really, I should bring these out to the edge. But remember, this is a Reggie job. Yeah, I didn't say it was going to look pretty, did I? But anyway, that's the right way to create a strong box. Well, ladies and gentlemen and fellow shedmen and aficionados, woo-hoo-hoo, it is finished. It's finished. It's got the Reggie protection. It's turned the vise from there to there, which we wanted to do. It's got quite a good jaw grip on it. Because of the limitations of the thread, we're just going to make it hand tight. It's only ever going to be hand tight, so that's going to be just fine, and it's going to hold whatever you want it to hold. Yeah. So now my friend Lance said, am I going to paint it and grind it and make it look nice? No, Lance, no, I'm not. I'm not that sort. You know that. I'm not that sort. I'm just Reggie butchering. So let's, what are we going to put in there? What are we going to put in there that we might want to work on or whatever? You'd put it in here, look. I've got to be very careful not to burn myself because I only just finished welding the damn thing. Why waste paint on it? There, here we are, look. We're there. Put it anything within the jaws. Pull it hand tight. Hear it crink? Look at that. Bing, can you hear? Oh, now. This is why I put the protection in. Because you want to give that a load of abuse. There we are now. Can you hear it? Ding. It's in nice and tight. Yeah. So, Reggie's homemade vise with the added top to make it hand tight and the added protection so we don't crush the box, do we? And how was it made? Well, it was simply made after a few cock-ups. A little box inside another little box. This old Tony. Obviously, he did a much better and nicer one. Obviously. But this will do the same job. And what a whole load of fun. What a whole load of, fun, learning, informing yourself. Great thing. These working in the house, a bit of grinding all over the place. And the place is a mess. But we made what we wanted to make, didn't we? And Reggie welding, I might go and tidy that up a bit. Remember the way we did the box so that the vise doesn't crush the box. So we'll allow that to go up and down inside. We were lucky. We got away with welding that in the back and it didn't foul it, and there was enough space down the side for the welding. So those jaws shut nice and square on each other. Lovely jubbly. Right, Reggie's, I don't know what the official name of something like that is, but it's with the inspiration of Scoutcrafter and watching the film of This Old Tony, and this is Reggie's version.